Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with the family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's
time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is, why is it comedians think they're intelligent? With David and Gretchen talking about actor-comedian Ed Asner's strange take on gun control. Net neutrality is dead. Is that good or bad? Then, did you know that bulletproof glass is racist? That's the latest liberal target. And finally, what's on the horizon with tax reform? All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
I'm not sure which the better example of being delusional is. Ed Asner, a.k.a. Lou Grant, and Ed Weinberger, a comedy writer, co-authoring an article about the Second Amendment as if they were scholars, or Salon magazine, publishing their article and pretending they are scholars. What's going on? An LSD renaissance? In their Salon article, Sorry, NRA, the U.S. was actually founded on gun control, Asner and Weinberger follow the talking points that reflect their comedy careers. They're written by somebody else. For instance, let's consider the case made by the NRA, its congressional hired hands, the majority of the Supreme Court, and various right-wing pundits who claim the Second Amendment is not simply about state militias, but guarantees the unfettered right of everyone to own, carry, trade, and eventually shoot someone with a gun. That's about as funny as a Joyce Behar stand-up routine. What these has-been funny men are missing is that it isn't the NRA that has the clout. It's the millions of members who make up the NRA that have the clout. The authors try to make the usual anti-gun case that the Second Amendment is about being in the militia and citizens don't really have a right to personal gun ownership. One of the stupidest things I have ever read was the author's claim, and I quote, "The Constitution was written, a new nation conceived, and a more perfect union formed because the founders were afraid of guns, and the wrong hands they might fall into, not just slaves, not just Native Americans, but poor white men. Hell, the framers didn't want everyone to have a vote, let alone a gun," unquote. Clearly, neither of these two clowns ever made it to fourth grade American history class, or for that matter, even watched Davy Crockett on television. Everybody owned guns in the 18th century, It would be difficult to imagine even being able to survive without a firearm. Guns put food on the table, protected your family from all manner of threats, man and beast, and provided a collective defense, the so-called militia. Let's take a look at what some very famous 18th century men did say about firearm ownership. Recognizing freedom backed by an armed populace can have its concerns, Thomas Jefferson wrote in a letter to James Madison dated January 30th, 1787. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Later that same year, on December 20th, he also wrote to Madison saying, what country can preserve its liberties if the rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. Regarding the issue of the militia, on June 4th, 1788, George Mason, in a speech before the Virginia Ratifying Convention, said, I ask, who are the militia? They are consisting now of the whole people. In point of fact, John Q's citizen was and remains the militia. On January 8, 1790, addressing both houses of Congress for the first time, George Washington said, the Constitution should never be construed to authorize Congress to infringe the just liberty of the press or the rights of the conscience, or to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceable citizens from keeping their own arms. History books are full of citations from the Founding Fathers and other influential men of the time, all making it very clear that firearms were an integral part of their lives. Equally important, their firearms were similar to what the military had because they served as a constant reminder of the harsh reality of the consequences of tyrannical rule. There is one point where the class clowns get it right. The founding of this nation has its roots deep into gun control. By 1775, tension had grown substantially to the point the British government began to fear an armed colonial population. British General Gage had heard that John Hancock and Samuel Adams, two leaders of the patriot group, the Sons of Liberty, were in Lexington. So on April 19th, Gage sent 700 British soldiers to arrest Hancock and Adams. They were also tasked with continuing on to Concord, where Gage believed the colonists stored ammunition for the common defense. The plan was to confiscate the powder, thereby implementing the first gun control scheme aimed at disarming John Q. Public. Boston patriots Paul Revere and William Dawes got wind of the plot and warned Hancock and Adams, as well as the local Minutemen, who surprised British troops as they arrived at the North Bridge in Concord. Whatever thoughts the British had about the efficacy of the ragtag American colonists were dispelled with the shot heard around the world. The Battle of Concord was on, several British soldiers fell, and the Revolutionary War had begun. So, Asner and Weinberger at least got one thing right. In a manner of speaking, the United States was founded on gun control. Patriots taking up arms to prevent the government from implementing it. It's a lesson that the comedians, both in and out of government service, might do well to remember. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
Yeah, some of these things that you pulled from Salon are really quite outrageous. But it's almost kind of funny.
It is if they weren't being serious.
Right.
I mean, you're right. Some of the stuff that they say.
Maybe funny's not the right word. Maybe laughable. Maybe laughable is a better word.
Yeah, that's probably a better word because it's definitely not funny. But here's the interesting thing. Just think about this. I think there are, and I'm actually serious. I think there's more comedians who think that they're experts on the Second Amendment than there are politicians. I mean, think about it. All those nutty women on The View, Rosie O'Donnell, Jimmy, Kimmel. I can't think of his name now.
Well, and there's Franken.
Steve, Al Franken, my favorite one. Al Franken, a guy so bad that even the liberals ran him out of the Senate. I mean,
even the Democrats were like, no.
Stephen Colbert.
Oh.
There's this long list of comics who think that they're somehow Second Amendment gurus, and they channel
even John Daly,
right, and they channel the founding fathers. Well, what the founding fathers meant. What, were you around? How old are you?
Yeah, exactly. And what was your major in college? You know, what was your undergraduate?
Certainly
in?
not American history.
Right.
But I just found this article in Salon particularly funny. When Ed Asner says the founding fathers were afraid of guns.
Yeah.
Everybody had a gun. You couldn't exist without a gun. You put food on the table.
I was going to say, it was probably one of those things where even if you were very poor, you would save up enough to be able to buy a rifle or a shotgun so that you, like you say, you could put food on the table.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely like the means to self-sufficiency.
You know, you have to remember that the early colonists, I mean, there was certainly agriculture, but the early colonists, most people weren't farmers, and there wasn't much industry. Most people kind of lived off the land, did their own thing. They grew some of their own food, they hunted, and, you know, and then they began developing trades from the old country. But you didn't have grocery stores. I mean, you didn't have that sort of stuff going on. So you had to have a gun. And, you know, not to be politically incorrect, but they had problems with Native Americans.
Yes.
Probably because they came over here and just took
their
the
land.
So I'm not taking sides on that one.
Right, exactly. They were essentially squatters, so.
Exactly. But, I mean, there was danger at every turn. And then the other thing is there were a lot of not so good. A lot of people came to the United States, well, came to America because they couldn't stay in Great Britain. They were sent here.
Well, there was
like prison.
that. Weren't there was, I think, at least a percentage that were probably fugitives from justice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They fled to America. So when they come here, they're not going to go, the land of opportunity. I think I'll become a coppersmith. They start robbing people.
Right.
So you pretty much had to have a gun. There's no way really to get around that. So, you know, but Ed Asner, who the heck is Ed Asner? Ed Asner. In fact, since Lou Grant went off the air, 200 years ago, who even heard of Ed Asner?
Yeah, I was like, is he alive? I didn't even know he was alive.
Well, from the looks of this, he's not. But it's, yeah, it's just pretty bizarre. The whole article. Salon is, it ranks just slightly below the Boston. What was it? The Boston Globe or whatever that.
Boston Times.
Boston Times.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I guess it's time to go to a break. This week we're going to do something novel. We're going to keep track of how many segments we're doing.
Maybe that will be the first time for you.
And when we return, we're going to talk about states' rights no more? I don't think so. All that and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's My Editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So we go from that bastion of journalism, Salon Magazine, slide right over to Slate, okay? This is a walk on the wild side tonight, right?
Apparently.
Yeah. So Slate did this article, big article, a guy named Adam Skaggs. That's just.
I wonder if he's related to Boss Skaggs.
I doubt it, seriously. He's probably related
I don't know. I'm guessing all the Skaggs are probably related.
Well, that may be true, too. And they share one set of DNA and teeth.
Yeah, I'm sure they share one set of DNA.
But in that amazing publication, Slate, they uniformly, what they talk about is reciprocity, concealed carry reciprocity.
Yes.
And here's some of the statements that they make. Last week, the House GOP passed a gun bill that has been uniformly condemned by law enforcement leaders across the country. Now, see, we should,
Let's start with that.
we should make up like a Rosetta Stone. Wouldn't that be cool?
I agree.
That we could put up on the.
I was actually thinking about starting it. I looked up constitutional carry so I could look at the states that have it, and then like what are their requirements. You know.
We can put up a thing that says, like, when they say this, what it really means is people buy that. Maybe we'd make money for a change.
No, I don't think so.
No, probably not.
It's a little bit too intellectual for the masses.
Yeah, probably. So one of the things they say is uniformly condemned by law enforcement leaders. Now, what is uniformly condemned by is I forget which organization.
It's like the International Association of Police Chiefs.
All of whom.
Very liberal.
Because they're all appointed by mayors, right? And the big cities are all liberal. So what are they going to go? They're going to say, I'm for concealed carry? Oh, I don't have a job? Oh.
Right.
So, yes, but that's not... The way they couch this, it makes it sound like cops.
Right. Or even, all levels, because... Police chief, those are cities, those are municipalities.
Exactly.
If you're talking about sheriff's departments, that's different. Those are sheriffs are elected officials.
That is right.
FBI, totally different group of people. I mean, they make it sound like it's every level. Well, no.
Not really.
It's not.
Speaking of the FBI, a perfect segue into a gate that I wasn't going to go through, but here we are.
Here we are.
Did you read about the FBI agents? They got texts, copies of the texts from them?
Yeah, I posted that.
Was it you that put that up?
Yeah.
I happened to glance at it.
It's pretty good.
Literally out and out plotting how to subvert the election.
How to help not get Trump elected.
Yeah. It's the FBI.
Yeah. Yeah. And the real smoking gun is that they were working for Mueller.
Right.
For his supposed independent, inquiry.
Yeah. They were inquiring into the Republicans, into Trump.
Right. So it's like, and they're like, oh, well, in Mueller's defense, he, as soon as he found out, as soon as he saw these texts,
as soon as we found out.
Right, exactly. As soon as he found out about the texts, he got them off the investigation, gave them different assignments. Okay, how about just fire them? And
novel thought.
Don't just give them different jobs. Actually, boot them out.
Yeah.
And B, like, okay, seriously, you didn't know that when you brought them in on your investigation. Like, seriously, they didn't have to fill out anything. You didn't look into their you didn't look at their personnel file or anything.
You
really?
didn't think the button on their jacket says "Not my president."
Exactly. Exactly. You didn't think that jackass on their lapel meant anything.
And it's. You look at this stuff and people are going, you people are conspiracy theorists. Not theorists. Really. It's not a theory, actually.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, okay, we could look at their Facebook page. Did he look at their Facebook page? Seriously, that's all I want to know. Because that would be like the lowest level of investigation that you should do into somebody's background before you hire them on an independent investigation.
Yeah, while you're eating a beef sandwich for lunch at your desk, you could browse through the guy's Facebook
you could probably
page.
click around Facebook for a few minutes.
So, what is this? Yeah, I just...
So anyway.
This is our government. They've been telling us since before Trump got elected that the concept of a shadow government is ridiculous.
It's nonsense.
It's ridiculous.
Hogwash, complete hogwash.
It's like every week.
You guys are tilting at windmills.
It's like every week they find something new. I mean, that's just the first sentence.
How many other axioms can I go on?
I don't know. That was just the first sentence of this article. Okay.
We clearly don't need all these other articles tonight.
Thank God.
Yeah, I love this too. That the
hidden gun sentence.
The concealed carry reciprocity bill would allow people to carry hidden guns in every state with no permit, no training, and no background checks whatsoever.
I don't know how they get away with this stuff.
I really don't. Well, it's
the
Slate.
news won't report.
Okay, here's the short explanation. It's Slate.
But there's a lot of slates out there. I mean, there's become a preponderance of salons and slates.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they have no standards. It's the Boston Times of liberal rags.
I get that, yet they're getting lots of hits.
Okay.
A lot of people read it.
Yeah, okay, so Salon and Slate are very popular.
Right.
With,
And as we've said countless times, perception is truth.
So you know how, like, with drugs, like, after you are addicted to drugs, then, like, you need more and more to get the same high.
Right.
No,
I don't know that. I don't know. How would I know that?
Well, just from an intellectual standpoint, we understand
Intellectually, I understand that that's the case.
Yes, okay. So, could also be applied to your sex addiction or, whatever, your shopping addiction.
Possibility.
So, pick your addiction. But, so I think... So the people who read Salon and Slate, they've moved on from NPR, okay? Like, NPR is not good enough for them anymore.
Yeah, they're jonesing
and now
for more.
And eventually they end up at, like, the Boston Times. But, but this is what we're talking about here. I mean, these are the people that we're talking about.
That statement that you made reminds me of, did you ever watch the TV show Taxi?
Well, I mean, I was like 9, but yeah.
So Jim...
I think it was actually in reruns when I was 9.
Jim Ignatowski was the guy who was like half brain dead, right? And the cab company, what's his name, the short guy. Anyway, they brought him, he had to take a commercial driver's test.
Okay.
So he could drive for the cab company.
Sure.
And so they go with him to help him. They're surreptitiously, they're like at the table filling out forms, and he's reading. So he comes to the first question, he goes, name. Oh. And one of the guys goes, Ignatowski. Then he says, drug or alcohol addiction. Oh, geez, I didn't know I had to make a choice. Anyway, so the Constitution and common sense recognize that different states have different cultures, traditions, and needs when it comes to guns. Oh, well, okay. That makes sense. So, like, if you're in Iowa, anyone trying to break in your house and kill you is okay because they're Iowans. But if you're in Chicago, that's a different need. That's a crock of crap.
Right. Yeah.
They like to talk about this is, and actually, depending on who's doing the argument, sometimes our side does the same thing. Well, it was like a driver's license. No, it's not. It's not like a driver's license. It's a basic. The whole premise behind this article, behind the other, Ed Asner, the whole premise behind all of these things is that guns are for some form of just personal protection. It's okay to have one in the house. It's going to take it outside. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They either don't get it or they get it and they don't care.
They don't want to.
Right. It's all about...
Be honest.
It's all about protecting the country. It's all about not letting tyranny prevail. And they certainly don't acknowledge that. And, the argument you always hear from these people when you bring this up, oh, sure, yeah, you're going to go against tanks and
But if you think about it, and think about liberals, anything, pretty much, that's an individual right they don't really believe,
in
individual rights.
No, unless it's theirs.
So our assertion, and the Supreme Court's assertion, let's just be honest.
And notice how they talk about that.
The Supreme Court's, they just completely misread it. It's completely a bad interpretation. Oh my gosh, So.
And that's a comedian.
The other one, right? The other one was like Scalia in 2008 just completely disregarded all the precedent and everything. But anyway, so yeah, they don't believe in individual rights just in general. So our assertion that the Second Amendment provides an individual right to own and bear firearms, they don't like that because they don't believe in, free speech. They don't believe in freedom of religion. They don't believe in any of that stuff.
Well, they do as long as you agree with their version of it.
I don't know.
Free speech, they believe they should be able to say anything. We can't.
But if you're a liberal, there is no black or white.
Well, that's true.
It's just
makes it very simple.
It's
to do
just
things.
the rainbow with them. So they don't the idea of like absolute morality, something is right or wrong. They don't even like that.
There's no absolute morality.
For them, like you're saying, one day they have the right to free speech, but somebody else tries to exercise their right to free speech. Oh no, that's not an individual right. You can't do that. That offends me. And so, this is what you're dealing with. This is the type of person that we're dealing with here.
And they go to such extremes. When we do the net neutrality thing, Ajit Pai, they're suggesting somebody should kill him for wanting to do away with net neutrality. These people are
we finally
psychos.
pick a brown person. They should be happy that we finally picked a brown person to do an important job, and now they want to assassinate him.
Doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't count. It's like Condoleezza Rice.
Right, exactly.
Secretary of State. First.
She's Uncle Tom.
No, she wasn't. Was she the first? Was Madeleine Albright before or after Kennedy?
Yeah, she was before. So she was the first woman. She was the first black woman.
Okay. No recognition for her whatsoever. She's not in the Hall of Fame.
It's because she's an Uncle Tom.
Exactly. Well, Aunt Tom. But, yeah.
Well, they call them all Uncle Tom.
I know. It's just... See, and that's the funny thing. Republicans are like, good for you. That's great. Mm-hmm. Good for you. It doesn't matter who they are. Good for you. Good job.
Right.
Yeah. No. It's crazy. This article...
It's also just straight up wrong because this says a dozen states don't require any permit whatsoever, but I just did a Google search.
It's that many.
Oh, no, actually, Wikipedia says there's 21 states that have constitutional carry.
Are there really?
That's what this says.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that there were that many. The important statistic here is the fact that people who have carry permits or constitutional carry, by and large, rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
I mean, they always have since day one, to a percentage that's actually higher than law enforcement.
Right. Yes.
Which I find interesting, because they're not necessarily talking about Chicago law. No, that's not fair. I don't want to say it because there's a lot of good cops in Chicago.
There are.
The paper only talks about but how many have there been this past
year?
And
the TV shows, they're always TV shows like to exaggerate how many bad cops there are.
I wouldn't want to be a Chicago cop.
No.
God bless them. You do more than work your butt off in Chicago.
I could not believe when I was in the state police, when I went to police academy, they divided us into squads of 10. So one of the guys in my squad that I actually became kind of friends with, he left the state police Chicago district to join the CPD. I was like, are you kidding me?
What was he thinking?
I'm not really sure. I never talked to him after that.
There you go. Okay, it's time to go away, and we'll come back again. We're going to talk about a little more about national reciprocity when we return with more on Target Radio.
Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474 and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join us at 7 p.m. Wednesday, December 20th at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois. December is show and tell, with guests bringing their favorite firearm or shooting-related piece of equipment and giving a brief talk about it. You'll find the newest gear as well as very old military firearms, all with interesting histories and stories. Come join us and bring your favorite toy to show off. Just be sure it is unloaded and bring an empty chamber flag to go along with it. Join us Wednesday, December 20th at 7 p.m. at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
You know, the article in Slate points out, it says there's no national database of concealed carry permits like there is for driver's licenses. So if Congress passes the plan, states that would be forced to create new and costly tools for police who encounter non-residents with hidden guns. Core principles of federalism dictate that Congress may not force state governments to absorb the financial burdens of implementing regulatory decisions made by other states. But that's just what would happen under the NRA's proposal. It's a little odd that the liberals would be suggesting that it's inappropriate for government to force things on states, don't you think?
Yes.
Isn't there a little...
Or that unfunded mandates are bad. I mean, this is just wrong 5 ways from Sunday. I mean, new and costly tools for police who encounter non-residents. I love, they don't say concealed guns, it's hidden guns.
Hidden, yeah, of course, yeah.
Well,
you have the card, no, or not. And if you live in a state that doesn't need a card, there's ways for cops to find out if you're,
right.
If there's a warrant, outstanding warrant for you, something.
Right.
So it's
well, not only that, but it's like, okay, we already have, everybody probably at this table already has Utah, which is good in 35 states. So you're trying, this guy's trying to tell me, he probably doesn't realize, because he's a dumbass, I'm sure. He probably doesn't realize that police in those states that have reciprocity encounter people from other states all the time that have concealed carry, and they just roll with it. I mean, it's, you don't need tools. It's basically asking a question. Do you have a gun on you? Is it loaded? Where is it? It's really not that hard.
And then we have Nancy Pelosi in the Washington Post, basically screwed her to a wall. Nancy Pelosi made this statement. She said specifically, it was a tweet, that this law, reciprocity, invites violent criminals to carry concealed weapons. It doesn't save lives. Inviting domestic abusers to carry concealed weapons doesn't save lives. Inviting convicted stalkers to carry concealed weapons doesn't save lives. Yet, the House GOP just voted to do exactly that. That is such a large wagon of crap.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just, there's no, this is the black and white part, okay? There's no gray in here at all.
Right.
It's not true. Okay?
Right.
It's not like the reciprocity law goes, okay, point A, if you're a felon and you've raped someone, you can carry a gun, I mean, this is insane.
There is no state that allows any of those people, to my knowledge, to
carry a gun.
To have guns.
Right.
And actually, the guy who wrote the Washington Post article, Kessler, pointed out that the categories of individuals Pelosi listed are already prohibited from possessing firearms under federal law.
Well, there's that. But letting that get in the way.
The federal laws that Pelosi should know about?
My favorite
part is that their defense, Pelosi spokesperson, so somebody who works in her office, says the information was provided by Everytown for gun safety.
You know, they're being honest.
That's their defense.
Yeah, they're being honest. That's nice.
We got an email from Bloomberg. This is what he told us to say.
I got this thing from Mike. We got to bring it in. We got to read it in the well. What does it say? No idea.
We'll find out when we get there.
We're just going to read it. Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure it's fine.
It's got to be. It's got to be. She got three out of 4 Pinocchios for that statement.
Oh, what was the one that she didn't get?
Well, and then that's interesting because they say there's a solid case for the 4th. She talks about there's differences of, like Illinois. Illinois's got 16-hour training requirement. You got a shooting proficiency, although it's not exactly much, but you got it. And then there are other states that don't have anything. And
I would say ours is akin to Florida, where you just have to show that you can handle a firearm in a safe manner.
Yeah, it's pretty, if you can't, well, we've done over 1,100 students. No one's failed.
Right.
And we certainly don't cheat.
No one fails.
But it's, we've had little old ladies with arthritis pass it.
Yeah.
So it's not rocket science, that's for sure. But the bottom line is, all the statistics have shown that people, as I said before, people with concealed carry rise up to it. Now, I will say one thing. I've said it once or twice in the past. I try to shy away from saying this because people go, well, you have a shooting school, naturally. But I also think that part of the reason that the statistics are way good is there aren't that many times people pull a gun out of a holster and use it. You don't have a big N,
No.
So who knows what it'd be like if this was going on every day. But what we do know statistically is that people with concealed carry permits don't use them inappropriately, because that we would know. If they did, it'd be all over the papers.
Right, and generally and for the most part, they make the right decision.
They do. Generally it is. I mean, there's some people that but it's a very, very small percentage. So anyway, we've probably beaten that subject to death. We'll go on to something we don't know anything at all about.
Yeah.
The issue of net neutrality, which we were going to cover last week, and we ran out of time because somebody lost track of what segment we're in, but we won't talk about that. Here's a classic, liberal thing. If you don't support net neutrality, then internet companies like Comcast or Cox are going to start charging you outrageously high prices to go to specific websites. And they talk about that one. I think it was Pelosi that said that one. And then Chuck Schumer said that he argued that the same internet companies would begin to slow down the internet of people paying lower prices while offering higher speeds to the wealthy. Until Obama had this thing passed, the internet had been around since, when did Gore invent it? I can't remember now. That date never got recorded, I don't think.
It was around 94, I think.
They've never done that.
Right.
This is the classic case of passing a law to solve a problem that doesn't exist. So it's not been an issue. And there are some interesting terms that come into the vocabulary when you start talking about blocking and throttling and that sort of stuff. So the argument about net neutrality, what the government was saying, and again, there wasn't any proof that anyone had ever done it. But what the government was saying that if you're an internet provider and you don't like, and by the way, even as I'm saying this, it occurs to me, this is exactly what Google and Facebook and some of these other outfits are doing. If you're an internet service provider and you don't like guns, you just block those sites, okay, so that people can't get to them. There really has never been, I don't believe, in the United States, a case where they've done that. Now, what has been happening the past couple of years is things like Facebook and YouTube and stuff have.
They suppress like search results and stuff.
But it's not even. Remember, I tried to run the exact same ad for classes, and they turned it down. Improper content.
Sure.
And the next week, I put the same ad in and they ran it.
They're like, okay.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know to what level those are actually being looked at by human eyes. If I could say for certainty, yes, a human being is looking at each one of those, and then I would just chalk it up to, well, 1 week you got some, way out there lefty.
That could well be.
And they said no, but normally you get reasonable people.
And that could be.
That could be, or it could just be they changed the algorithm, they tightened it down too much 1 week, and because you see that too of, Google, Facebook, they have algorithms that run their search contents,
right.
That determine what you're going to see, and they tweak it, and it changes the outcome. So maybe they tweaked their criterion, and then they got a bunch of complaints, or they didn't get as much ad revenue that week, and so they're like, oh, we got to go back to what it was before because we tweaked it down too much.
But we know that Google, during the election, did whatever they did to their algorithm so that if you type certain things, it always came up Hillary Clinton.
Right. And the suggestions were
right.
Where they were pushing Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, it was, and after a while, it became very clear they were doing that because no Republican names ever came up when you do it. So there are people who've been juking the numbers, but this thing is about control over all of the internet. So the other thing that it covered, the law covered, was what they call throttling, which means if you got enough money, we'll open that puppy up full bore, and you can you want to watch a movie real time, boy, you can do it. It's just going to cost you. But if you don't have that kind of money, or a little startup company or something, we're not going to give you that much bandwidth. So you want to watch a movie, it's going to be hello,
right.
And that hasn't happened. I mean, they didn't have any history of that. I remember when Netflix started, I was probably one of their first customers, and it was pretty much seamless. I mean, they just started doing it. So there hasn't been any egregious amount of throttling, as they call it, or paid prioritization, where I pay you enough money and you put I appear before.
I think there has been some of that. I mean, I was just telling Eric before
there's
the
open.
show.
There's open where they say you pay this and we'll.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not a secret. They
right.
say, okay, this is your starter internet package. If you want the $20 a month price, you only get 10 megabits per second.
Right.
That's what it is. Now I'm paying $40 a month. Now I'm going to get 75 megabits per second. So. But
I mean, that's an open subscription service type of thing, which partly is what they're talking about. It is partly because because the theory of that law was you don't have a lot of money, suddenly you're cut out of the picture. Anyway, it's we got to go. We're having a good discussion here.
Well, we'll pick it back up.
You're going to pick back up because you got stuff, right?
I do.
You do indeed. So we're going to do your stuff and other stuff with more stuff when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances finances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
The Illinois State Rifle Association invites you to participate in Winter Wars 14, their annual high-power rifle romp in the snow at the ISRA range in Bonfield. The Winter Wars match will be Saturday, January 13th, starting at 9 a.m. This is not a fiercely contested event for finely tuned match rifles. This is an opportunity for the milsurp rifle enthusiast to shake off cabin fever and get back in touch with some of his or her favorite relic battle rifles for a little fun and a little frostbite. There will be door prizes, not score prizes, and you will probably receive one if you brave the cold. The event includes 2 shooting matches, chili, hot drinks, and a bonfire. The entry fee is $25 if you register by January 3rd. After January 3rd, add $5. Please mail your entry to the ISRA office in Chatsworth, or you may register the day of the event. If you want to be a match contender, some of the rifles you may use include M1 rifles and carbines, Mosin Nagant, models 1903 or 1903A3, 1917 Enfield, SMLE, or KAR-98K. To see the complete list and description of the event, go to the calendar on isra.org or reach out to me and I will email it to you. The following Safer USA class is at our facility in Waterman. Saturday and Sunday, January 6th and 7th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and not Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register. I just realized I never took that out.
Yeah. Well, I said this last week. I'll say it again. I'm going to get the schedule. I got it. I know what we're going to do for 2018.
Yeah, I had to read about it in the Illinois Shooter.
And there's that. But I've got to get it out before the Illinois Shooter
I had to read
gets
my
up.
own work schedule in the proof of the Illinois Shooter.
It's in the paper. It must be true.
I get to see the Illinois Shooter before anybody else. Except for Richard. Richard sees it before me.
Except for me, because I'm the guy that writes it.
I write it too.
See? So, but you don't see my stuff before I see
Yeah,
it.
but you don't see my stuff before everybody else sees it.
You know, the footsteps on the deck the other night, I was looking to see if I could see through the window and see what she wrote lately. That was it. So, this, you know, this one is one of those pieces that's been written that you think it can't be true. Did you know that bulletproof glass is now racist?
You know, I sent that to you, so I did. But the funny thing is they're not even really talking about bulletproof glass.
No, of course not.
I thought about that after the fact. I'm like, they're actually talking about plexiglass, which is not bulletproof, FYI, if you didn't know.
It's like, you know, it's like your Uncle Charlie's glasses.
Oh, is it
Oh,
the thick
yeah,
stuff?
It's,
Okay.
it's what they make for, oh, yeah, you can't shoot through it.
Really?
Oh, no, it's big, thick. I mean, you can't shoot through it.
Oh, okay. So it is bulletproof.
Yeah, but it's not glass, but that's, you know, what they call it. But the point is, this woman who she's the, whatever they call them, councilwoman, alderwoman, or whatever, of the 8th District in Philadelphia, Cindy Bass, who is African-American, and she wants stores in her district, well, across Philadelphia, but
Right, Philadelphia.
principally her district, which is an extremely high crime district, to take all the emergency, take all the bulletproof thing, because you got to they're behind cover, right?
Right.
So because they get robbed all the time.
Right. It's like it's restaurants, it's fast food restaurants and stuff have it, and so they pass your food out through a slot.
Yeah. As the rounds come in, they're passing it out, and she goes, "You have to take all that out. It's racist." No, it saves my life, is what it does, because your constituents are idiots.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. It's like if you could find a way to keep people in your district from shooting me, then
we could talk about it. And actually, one guy in there in the article basically says that. He goes, okay, if the cops will guarantee my safety. Well, that's not going to happen. The cops can't guarantee their own safety in that area.
Yeah. She says plexiglass window sets up a symbol of distrust in neighborhoods where many African Americans live.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah.
What do you think would have precipitated someone thinking that there was a problem? Maybe being shot at would be the reason why.
Yeah, this is someone else, Anderson. Who's Anderson? Probably another council person. But, of course, some people are bad, but most people who come to that window are good, and they're not trusted either. That angers and alienates them.
Yeah, right.
They know they're civil, honest people. They're hit with the symbol of distrust, and it works on your psyche in subtle ways. You know that you're devalued as a customer. No, I think they know why it's there.
They get it. They get it.
I think they get it.
Because
probably if they could wear Kevlar on a daily basis, they would.
I was just going to say, because when some psycho goes in there with a gun, they try and crawl through the window to get on the other side.
Right.
What are these people? How do they dream this stuff up?
Well, not only that, but it seems like they're being really racist against the people who run these establishments, because at least according to this article, a lot of them are Asians.
Well, Asians.
It's like, you don't value Asians' lives. It's okay if the Asians get shot, as long as the blacks are not insulted.
But Asians get even. They drive. Oh, I'm going to get email on that. I'll get email on that one. I could say it's just a joke.
David
okay?
at OT
joke.
Media
Joke. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. I personally have crossed the street in Tokyo. Okay, I know. I've been there. Or Bangkok. Oh my God! In Bangkok, it's like Psycho Land. I go to Bangkok. Check it out. I'm right. And then the liberals are concerned that Republicans are trying to seize control of the entire court system.
Didn't we talk about this last week?
No. We're going to.
I thought we did.
No.
Okay.
If you were listening last week and you heard us talk about this, call 815-205-1584 or send us an email and say, you've already talked about this. We can toss this out. But they're concerned we're going to seize the entire court system. And first of all, if they could do it, what do you think?
I think we should do it.
Yeah. I don't have a problem.
If they could do it, they would.
They would indeed.
They do, their dirty tricks is like their thing. They should appreciate somebody doing dirty tricks. They should be like, oh yeah, okay, that was clever.
Pretty clever. Yeah.
Really good one.
The interesting thing that they're going to do is, because there aren't that many vacancies, but they're going to redistrict. They're going to gerrymander.
Right.
And
weren't they're going to draw a bunch of new districts.
Yeah.
They're going to make them smaller.
Right out of the liberal playbook.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny how when you use liberal tactics against liberals, suddenly it's illegal.
Angry.
Yeah,
so
there's something
angry.
wrong with it. I don't know. It would be nice to, and we've said that since long before Trump was even elected, that the real stakes in the game is not who the president is, it's who the Supreme Court justices and lifetime judge appointments are going to be. Mm-hmm. Because we have an awful lot of liberal judges that legislate from the bench.
Yes.
You're frowning. You're looking at an expensive microphone and frowning.
No, I'm moving the microphone because it's blocking my computer screen. I'm trying to see Facebook, which is not working correctly. I'm sorry, I have not been monitoring your PMs tonight, people.
Which is not working correctly? The microphone, your face, or Facebook?
Facebook.
Oh, I see.
And so I'm trying to catch up on the comments that people have been making, and it won't load. Sorry, Raymond, it won't load your comment.
Really?
Really?
He said we already did it.
Who are you talking about, Raymond?
Raymond, yeah.
I got it. They already have done it. I don't know what he's referring to, but
Right, that's what I was trying to.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Raymond, but then we don't even know what we're talking about, so what are you going to say?
It was at 8:30, whatever we were talking about at 8:30.
I don't know what we're talking about now, let alone at 8:30.
I think it was net neutrality at
that could be. That could be.
8:30.
The tax reform. Well, I want to circle back one thing, though, before we do that. All the brouhaha about reciprocity is really kind of stupid.
Oh, on many levels. Where do we start?
Yeah.
We only have 4 minutes, so.
For one, we
fast.
start in the fact that it was the House. Now, the Senate's a whole different
highly
ballgame.
unlikely to pass the Senate.
Although, did you read yesterday, I think, I got a little news feed about in the next few days there's going to be like a pogrom in the Senate of child molesters and sex offenders.
No.
Apparently, and they didn't say left or right or what, but apparently there's going to be a bunch, this is what they said, there's going to be a number of people resigning.
Oh, so that could change the...
Who knows what that's going to do.
That could change the vote tally.
It could. Now, if I'm just trying to think about how you could buy that in Illinois. If a senator vacates a seat before the end of the term, does the governor appoint a replacement?
Yes.
Is that true in every state, or is it just Illinois?
That I couldn't say. I don't know. Maybe.
So it's not necessarily a federal
if
thing.
If Ed's watching, he should send us a message and let us know.
Ed would know. Yeah. Because that's actually, I was going to say, because if the governor appoints it, would be the same, but that's not true. Yeah, you could have changed parties on the governor since.
Right. A lot of executive level politicians, elected officials, are different party than the legislature. So,
now, we do know we got a majority of governorships now.
We do. Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that, so we have a majority of governorships. So let me think about that. That would work in our favor because...
in most cases. Just depends on where the guy.
Really, yeah.
It depends on where the guys are from.
That's right. You're right. You're right. If it's a Republican,
because if it's East Coast or West Coast, it's probably not going to help us.
Yeah, you're right. It's unpredictable. But I just thought that was interesting. I just picked that up on a news feed. I think it was yesterday. I came across. There's like this frenzy.
Yeah.
I mean, really a frenzy. People, oh my God.
I think I said this off the air, but I would like to say it on air at some point. It did occur to me about a week or so after Matt Lauer got fired, and I realized, like, I heard that it wasn't like a one person type of deal, like, and I was like, because initially my thought was, oh, that'll turn out not to be true, and he'll be back.
No.
But then after a few days, I was like, okay, he's not coming back. So, about a week after that happened, and I'm watching, they had already, for whatever reason, had 2 women anchoring the 7 and 8 o'clock hours with him. And so when he got booted, now it's just 2 women anchoring the whole thing. And I said, aha, this is how women will take over the world.
Well, and apparently there's more about this Matt Lauer thing. Now I guess he's having problems with his marriage. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, no, but apparently it's been ongoing. It's not
yeah,
new.
I read an article on not even a political website. It was just a pop culture type of website. And it was saying that it's kind of been a known thing that he's been cheating on his wife like the entire time they've been married.
Well, anyway, I still got to say, I'm Bob the handyman at the station, right? And Matt Lauer calls me up in his office, bring a toolkit. Okay, what do you need, Mr. Lauer? I want a button under my desk that locks the door. Yeah, you'd think the guy would go, can I have a work order on that, please?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'd want to know why.
If you want a work order, get a work order.
I think from the public humiliation alone, I think his wife almost has to leave him.
Well, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
going on for forever apparently.
Like Uma Abedin, how does she stay with Wiener after the first one?
The name is perfect. You gotta
she did finally leave him after like the second bout of embarrassment.
But I'd like to thank you for taking time to listen tonight. We appreciate you. Tell your friends about Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safe for USA.
And finally, we'd like to listen next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues that affect your life.